From the FBI list to the Nigerians to be executed on Saudi's list, Nigerians seem to be getting a very bad rap. Or is this just a single story over-exaggerated? And then we have the Federal High Court in Abuja ruling to dismiss a suit challenging the decision of the All Progressive Congress to adopt indirect primary for nominating its candidate for the November 16 governorship election in Kogi State. It looks like the primaries we have had in Lagos before the gubernatorial might be repeating itself in Kogi State. This is Plus Politics, and I am Felicity Ezewuike. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday dismissed the suit challenging the decision of the All Progressive Congress APC to adopt indirect primary for nominating its candidate for the forthcoming November 16, 2019 governorship election in Kogi State. Now, the judge, Justice Taiwo, upheld the preliminary objections filed by the APC to challenge the suit, in ruling that the suit had been caught by the statute of limitation. So, does Yahaya Bello stand a chance during this primary? I'm joined by a political analyst, Lester Wilcox. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, Felicity.
Let's get your reaction to this latest addition to the Kogi State APC travels.
Well, it's like the APC has learned nothing and forgotten nothing. Coming from the battered image they got in the last general election. The kind of controversy that is brewing in Kogi is what the APC doesn't need at this point, because that is what cost them Imo election in 2000 in the last March election. That's what cost them Zamfara. That's what cost them Rivers, where they could not even file candidates. This same problem cost them Adamawa State. It also played a major role. They are losing Bauchi State. So this infighting within APC, I think it is time that some sense is being knocked back to some people's head. They need at this point in time. Because I don't understand why every politician will think that he has a good chance of winning an election. I've never seen where there is a sitting governor and there is fierce contest when that governor has not yet completed his term, or the president has not completed his term, and there's a fierce contest in taking over power from that incumbent. I've never seen it happen anywhere in the world.
Well, we'll definitely be talking extensively, as much as time will let us, on the issues with the Kogi APC and APC generally in this country. But before then, I want to ask, as regards this particular court ruling, do you see it as an end to the tussle, or do you see something else, another legal?
Certainly not. Certainly not. Because that is the first instance court. They have the right of appeal, and they can be too sure that any electoral context, the lawyers are always ready to lead their client into oblivion. They will certainly appeal this ruling, and the appeal will get to Supreme Court. And this matter can even go into become a post-election matter. Remember, in Rivers State, there were multiple layers of litigations. Sometimes it becomes so confused that the cobweb of litigation that will surround a particular process, it becomes so confusing. In River State, there were multiple layers and layers of litigations that the Supreme Court has to give about 3 or 4 judgments in the case of APC River State. These two in the case of Zamfara. Multiple layers and multiple layers of litigations all around nomination of candidates. So these politicians, coupled with their lawyers, are not making Nigerian democracy to advance. So this is not the end. Yahaya Bello should not think that it is Uhuru, because the so-called aggrieved members, they will still go to appeal court. Okay. Appeal court will rule. Whoever it favors or the appeal court might even send the case back, because what happened now was that the court didn't. It was at the preliminary objection that the judge dismissed the suit.
The case, yeah.
He can go to appeal now, and the appeal judges will say, send the case back to the judge, go and try the case on its merits. And that's a new, and that's a new vista.
Will this all be done before the November?
That is the problem. It cannot, because you need to have, by September, you need to have gotten your candidates. INEC have a timetable to getting your candidates. Was that not what robbed Rivers State and Zamfara State the opportunity of fielding candidates during the March election? Because the litigations upon litigations made them not be able to conduct a primary, and they make them not able to present candidates. So at the end of the day, if despite that APC won all the elections in Zamfara, by the time the matter got to the Supreme Court, by APC members got to the Supreme Court reversed everything and said that APC did not have candidates.
Yeah, I really need us to talk about this situation with APC, but not before we address the few things. For the ordinary man that doesn't quite understand what is going on in Kogi State, why the insistence on indirect primary and why the insistence on direct primary? Can you walk us through the difference, basically?
Direct primaries is the primaries that you conduct by all members of the party. Every member of the party is allowed to vote. That is, it is conducted at the ward level. So it's like what happened in the presidential nomination of 2015 election. It was direct primaries. Every party member voted for who the candidate is going to be. Lagos used the direct primaries on that in the same occasion to nominate Sanwo-Olu as the candidate. Now that gives every party member an opportunity to participate in who emerges. And indirect primaries is the collegial system whereby delegates are appointed or elected at the ward level.
So what's this argument against the use of delegates? Good.
Now, it is believed that whoever holds the piper, holds the piper, plays the piper, there is the tune. Yeah. Because it has been proven that when it comes to delegate level, the delegates are like, the incumbents or the powerful members of the society are able to get the delegates. Okay, the governor can be able to easily, or the incumbent will be able to easily manipulate the ward level with the ward congresses and get its men to be elected. And the moment your men are elected from the ward level, it is fiat accomplis. So that by the time they go for the real nomination, it is maybe, let's say Kogi State has 200 and has how many local government and has about, let's say, 200 wards. So each ward the delegate will come from each ward. That is indirect. A delegate will come from each ward. So whoever gets the largest number of delegates wins the election. But if it's against indirect, in the indirect level, everybody is asked to go and campaign. So you go and campaign just like it's a general election.
Okay.
You go and campaign just like it's a general election. So at every ward, or every polling unit, every ward, you can be accumulating votes.
Okay, at least now that we've made some sense of it, yes. I would have liked to pursue that conversation a little further, but because of the time constraint, the point is to get people to, get to understand what we're talking about. Yes. Basically, my next question would be on the situation in Kogi State. This court case was instituted by a fraction of the APC, not recognized by the national body. Yes. And they are still insisting that until the APC at the national level, resolve the leadership issue in the party, it should not be taking the side of one faction against the other. Now, the election is just a couple of weeks away, in my opinion. If you count weeks, it's almost there. Yes. Do you see them really resolving that leadership tussle in time?
I am of the opinion that there is a fifth columnist in Kogi State.
Fifth? How do you mean?
Yes, in terms of the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob manipulating things. Because I don't understand why a group of persons, a party that wants to win an election, knowing how precarious the Kogi State is as it is right now, the governor is said not to have performed very well. Even though I totally disagree, if payment of salary is the only basis of re-electing a governor, then people like Otong, people like Ugwani no, not Ugwani, sorry. People like the Abia statesman should be far away from government house today. But you know, people are taking the fact that Yahaya Bello was not paying salaries. I'm not in support of him not paying salaries. I don't know why he's not paying salaries and other things. I don't know the problem of Kogi State, but people are using that as the basis of campaign of calumny against Yahaya Bello. And if his party members that should rally around him are not the ones dividing the house, so I think that there's a fifth columnist in
play. Who would this be? You're talking about grown men who have been in business and in politics and politicians.
Politicians behave worse than children, worse than kids in this country. Because when you don't stand a chance of winning an election, you want to play the spoiler. Look at what happened and I'm drawing inferences from what happened in Zamfara. It's so painful. This is what happened in River State. Factionalization. Now, if Kogi State has had the ESCO ever since, I don't think there was a challenge to that ESCO. All of a sudden, with this election coming up, there has now become a challenge to the legitimacy of that ESCO, and which the court dismissed. There was a court case about a month ago that upheld the current ESCO that the national body recognizes. The problem of River State was this time functionaries of the ESCO, while the Rotimi Amechi faction was holding their convention, which the national body recognizes, the Abi faction was holding a convention differently. And then two ESCO emerged. Okay? And so when the primaries was to be conducted, ESCO A is conducting a different primaries, ESCO B conducting different primaries. It now ended up in the court. And because there was a court order that said the faction A, that's the Rotimi Amechi faction, should not proceed with the primaries.
You don't seem to have much optimism that this situation can be resolved before the election.
My prayer is that it should be resolved. That senses, and another one I started with, that some sense should be knocked into the heads of people, knowing fully well that you cannot just rock the boat because your ambition is not met. Okay,
what are the possible implications if this situation is not resolved?
The possible implication is the fact that we might either have the Rivers incidents on our hands, or the Zamfara incidents, situation on our hands in Kogi, or in the hands of APC in Kogi. Because at the end of the day, and like I said, this matter will keep dragging on. It will get to the Supreme Court. This is the first layer of litigation. More layers will come, and it can be sure, because politicians in this country believe so much that they all have this demonic belief that they are all poised to win an election. Forgetting fully well that when you divide your house, you are this thing. Kogi State is not like Lagos, where you say, okay, even if APC or field anybody, the people will still rally around him because it's APC. Or where it is like Enugu State, where I say 50p fields any kind of candidate. Kogi State is in contention right now, in serious contention, and so there is already a divided state in terms of the strength of the parties. And then you now still want to divide their own APC. So what are you? So are you being sensible, or you are just being stupid in the bloated ego that you can win an election? Now you have an incumbent. Is it not it's encumbrance on the party? Because now, first and foremost, the party's interest should play. After parties interest should play.
What we define now? You're saying it's still the same APC members that are divided about the leadership of Yahaya Bello. They are unsatisfied, and there is a faction that is saying that he should step aside while someone else comes in. So if it inside
you have an incumbent that has not finished his term, and he still have the possibility.
But must he continue in a second
term? That is where I said the party needs to rally around their. Didn't the PDP rally around their people? Should a man like should a governor like Ezewuike in Abia State ever get near a local government office in Abia State? If the PDP didn't rally around their own.
Let's move forward.
Should a man like Otong, who was owing salaries and was using the former headers clashes to whip percent for himself?
Mr. Lucas, I do not want to keep interrupting you because we have limited time. I need you to, let's touch on share your thoughts on as many issues as possible. Yeah. Now we're talking about I want to talk about the penchant of the APC to resort to court ruling to resolve internal party crisis. what are the implications, the short and long-term implication for this party, especially considering the fact that you mentioned states like Zamfara, you mentioned states like Rivers State, and some other states who have continued to have issues because of this internal fighting. And then the National Working Committee doesn't seem to have a grip over the state branches of this party. What are the implications for this ruling party?
You see, these are the downside of democracy. In democracy, you cannot infringe on anybody's right to seek redress.
No, but I mean, there should be some sort of, they have a code of conduct, they have constitution guiding their conduct.
But at the same time, they have rights and privileges to approach a court. There is no law that will, because of our constitution makes it clear, nobody can cage you to exercise your rights.
So why do they keep doing it?
That right should be sought after in the confines of codes of conduct, which they are not ready to. For instance, look, I keep using those things as an example. If today the National Working Committee wakes up and expels somebody, they will still go to court and tell you that you don't have a right. The expulsion will come from the ward. You know, so it's a complex thing, because we have made our parties, which is democracy really, but because men are operating without conscience, without brain, just want to play the spoiler. If I can't eat it, let us spoil. Just like what they did.
From what you're saying, it looks like the democracy is not for the ordinary man. It's basically for the politicians. Because if you're looking at this infighting, what is the interest in all of this? Where is the interest?
To what extent is
Kogi people?
To what extent is the people enlightened to the point of the sense? Okay, if you are fighting, finish fighting. We know where to go. How many people?
So that's my question, really.
The unfortunate thing is that
these people are fighting,
yes,
where is the best interest of the Kogi people in all of this? Who is the most, what's the language? Who is the most well-placed person
yes,
to come, maybe like an elder,
yes,
to arbitrate among these two factions, to create, let's look out for the Kogi people.
Our moral values have so been degraded that even the elders themselves are now like paper tigers. In those days, I tell you, when conscience, when morality was playing, even in politics, in the Second Republic, for instance, for a UPN, will you do such a trash inside a UPN? Chief Abimba of blessed memory will call you to order, and you dare not go against that party principle. And people know their strength and their weaknesses. People know when to challenge and when to let go. For instance, I understand that someone wanted to challenge Jakonde during his second time in Lagos as governor. But when the man saw the work of Jakonde, he just felt it would be foolhardy to go and make such challenge, because you can't even match what he has done. So that is where morality and conscience comes in. Now, you want to divide your party and thinking that you will be able to. Now, if you will not divide the party, you will not become the candidate. You think that the Yahaya Bello faction that is entrenched will give you their backing? Are you not better off to allow to say, okay, let the interest of Kogi reign? Let us go into this fight. Knowing fully well that this is an internal fight.
That's where the problem lies.
That is why Lagos is civil stable. And people will say Asiwaju is always overbearing.
So why don't they consider the possibility that if they do a direct primary, it will allow the people more room? So what is the argument against because there seem to be more benefits to direct primary
which I agree with you.
So what is the problem?
The problem is maybe the governor is afraid that he will not have that 6 libraries they want to have. I'm not in the governor's mind. So politicians are always trying to be witty, are always trying to circumvent things. I mean, for me, if they say, okay, let us go for direct primaries, which is also the people deciding, that is your party members at every level deciding, it's also as good as party members bringing out the electing delegates. Even now, I think the party is doing away with automatic delegates. For instance, automatic delegates are commissioners, House of Assembly members, and some board chairmen. And I think they want to do away with that. So now they only want to believe in the people. So it's also So even if you do direct primaries, it is still almost equals to having able to vote. But politicians being what they are, they're either afraid of their shadows or they feel they want to get the process under their armpits and all whatnot. So, and at the end of the day, it is their own interest. But for me, I'm after the party supremacy. If you submit yourself to a party, and the party said, let us go this way, for the betterment of the party, what is the point of going to court and to challenge your own party? If you are dissatisfied with the party, if you're not trying to play the spoiler, just like Magnus Abi played the River State, just like, what do you call him, the Senator Marafa played the Zamfara State. If you're not trying to play the spoiler for your party, what is so difficult in you considering to what their party says? Because, again, it's in the house. And then people should learn to give and take.
Well,
that is what killed them in Imo. In Imo, they refuse to do give and take.
The more you speak on this, the more questions come in. But I'm afraid we have to pause now.
It's really scary that we are not growing. In Imo, that's what killed Imo. If you combine the vote of AA and that of APC, it's more than what your hacking scored. So I think they should come to that. When you come to their brain, once for some time, then that party supremacy must take root. Well,
let's hope that the people of Kogi, they are listening, they are watching, and they will learn a thing or two from this conversation. Hopefully, the APC can resolve its misunderstandings before the elections. Thank you very much, Wilkos, for coming on the program.
Anything.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll be looking at the fraud list and the Nigerian image. Stay with us.